Hey there, LifeWell family. Where are you tuning in from? I'd love to know what state you're in. Drop your location in the comments below, and let's see where our community is tuning in from. It's always exciting to see how far we've spread. Now, let's get into something that might be hitting closer to home for many of us. Have you ever felt that strange numbness or tingling in your feet after a meal? You know, that odd sensation that seems to creep in, maybe after you've sat for a while or when you're relaxing after dinner? It can be subtle at first, but over time, it can become harder to ignore. And here's the thing. If you've been experiencing it, you're not alone. And more importantly, you might be eating certain foods that are secretly making the situation worse. It's easy to think that numb feet are just a normal part of getting older, right? But what if I told you that some of the healthy vegetables you're eating might actually be contributing to that numbness? Surprising, huh? Stick with me through this video because we're about to uncover some hidden dangers. You'll learn which 5 common vegetables could be secretly making your foot numbness worse. And by the end, I'll give you some practical tips on how to enjoy them safely or even how to switch them out for better alternatives. So, trust me, you don't want to miss this. But first, let's get interactive. I want to know, have you noticed a pattern where your feet feel more numb after meals? If that's you, give me a 1 in the comments. If not, drop a 2. Let's see how many of you are experiencing this together. And while you're at it, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more health tips like these. Alright, back to the veggies. There's something we all have in common. We want to stay healthy as we age, and that means paying close attention to what goes into our bodies. A lot of us are more conscious about getting enough veggies, and we're told that these nutrient-packed foods are great for us. But here's the catch. Some of the vegetables you might be eating regularly could actually be making that numbness worse.
Stay tuned, because we're about to dive deeper into this. And trust me, there's a good chance that one of your favorite vegetables is on the list. But first, let me ask you this. Have you ever experienced foot numbness after eating potatoes? I know, it sounds surprising, but if you've felt that before, drop a 1 in the comments below. Or, if potatoes don't seem to bother you, let me know with a 2. I'd love to know your thoughts on this, and don't forget to hit that like button if you're learning something new already. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, now that we've gotten warmed up, let's start with something that almost everyone enjoys, potatoes. Think about it, mashed potatoes, baked potatoes, fries. You name it. They're a go-to comfort food in so many households. Whether it's during the holidays, a family dinner, or just a casual meal, potatoes are often on the table. But what if I told you that potatoes, which are often considered one of the healthiest foods, could actually be worsening your foot numbness? I know what you're thinking. Wait, potatoes? They're a staple. How could something so familiar and comforting be a problem? Well, here's the thing. Potatoes, particularly white potatoes, are high in carbohydrates. Now, carbs aren't inherently bad, but the type of carbs found in potatoes are what we call high glycemic index, GI, foods. What that means is that when you eat them, your blood sugar spikes. And for many seniors, especially those dealing with diabetic neuropathy or circulation issues, this can be a serious problem. So, why is this relevant to foot numbness? When blood sugar levels spike, it can lead to nerve damage over time. This damage is one of the main contributors to the tingling, burning, and numb sensations you might feel in your feet. Think of it this way, high blood sugar levels can damage the blood vessels that supply oxygen to your nerves, and this disruption leads to nerve issues, like numbness. Not fun, right? But that's not all. Let me take a deeper dive into why this is such an issue. Diabetic neuropathy is one of the most common types of nerve damage, especially in seniors, and it's caused by prolonged high blood sugar levels. When your blood sugar stays high over time, the excess glucose in your blood can damage the nerves that control your sensations, like the feeling in your feet. And the sad truth is, many of us don't realize that potatoes and other high GI foods could be contributing to this. Now, I know what you're thinking. But potatoes are packed with nutrients, don't they help with our health? Yes, they do contain potassium, fiber, and vitamins like B6 and C, which are essential for good health, especially as we age. But the issue lies in the way our bodies process them. High GI foods cause a spike in blood sugar, which is exactly what we're trying to avoid when managing foot numbness or any form of neuropathy. When blood sugar levels suddenly surge, your body releases insulin to manage it. But if this process keeps repeating over time, it can cause insulin resistance, where your body doesn't respond as effectively to insulin. This, in turn, leads to more nerve damage. Scientific evidence and research. I'm sure you're asking, okay, but is this really something that researchers have studied? Absolutely. In fact, A study published by the American Diabetes Association found that high glycemic foods, like potatoes, can worsen the symptoms of neuropathy. Neuropathy is a condition that affects the nerves, and it's a very real concern for seniors, especially those who are living with diabetes or poor circulation. High glycemic foods can not only spike your blood sugar but also inflammation, which aggravates the symptoms of neuropathy, such as tingling or numbness in the feet. Here's where it gets interesting. The research suggests that the GI index isn't just important for blood sugar, it's directly linked to how well your nerves are functioning. When you regularly consume high GI foods, it disrupts circulation and damages nerve function, and that's when those weird sensations in your feet start creeping up. Have you ever had that feeling of your feet falling asleep, but it doesn't seem to go away for hours? Well, that's likely a sign of nerve issues, and potatoes could be playing a role. So, what can we do about this? Does it mean we have to give up potatoes altogether? Not necessarily. I'm not suggesting that you have to eliminate potatoes from your diet, after all, they're delicious and so versatile. But the key is moderation. Instead of eating a huge serving of mashed potatoes or fries, consider portion control. Smaller amounts are less likely to cause a huge spike in blood sugar. But let's take it a step further. Have you ever tried sweet potatoes? If not, you might want to consider swapping them out. Sweet potatoes have a lower glycemic index compared to white potatoes, which means they won't cause those sharp spikes in your blood sugar. Plus, they're packed with beta-carotene, which is great for overall health and well-being. Sweet potatoes are a much healthier alternative, and they also taste amazing. Try baking them or mashing them up with a little olive oil and cinnamon. Fiber is another key factor in regulating blood sugar. So, if you must have regular potatoes, try pairing them with fiber-rich foods like leafy greens or beans. Fiber helps slow down the digestion of carbohydrates, so you won't experience those rapid increases in blood sugar. So, let's make this a bit more interactive. Have you ever experienced foot numbness or tingling after eating potatoes? Let me know in the comments by typing 1 if you have, or 2 if you haven't noticed any connection. I'm curious to hear how many of you have experienced this. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to LifeWell Seniors for more tips on living your healthiest life. You'll want to stick around because we have more eye-opening insights coming up. And if you're someone who just can't live without your potatoes, I get it. But maybe next time, try swapping them out for a healthier option like sweet potatoes. Your feet will thank you. I want to know, how do you enjoy your potatoes? Do you stick with regular potatoes, or do you prefer sweet potatoes? Drop your answer below and let me know. And, if you're finding these tips helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to LifeWell Seniors for more tips on managing your health. So, to wrap up this section on potatoes, they're delicious, but they might not always be the best choice for those dealing with foot numbness. If you're experiencing that tingling sensation, it might be time to reconsider how often you eat them. Keep in mind that moderation is key. Sweet potatoes and fiber-rich pairings are great options to keep that blood sugar in check while still satisfying your taste buds. Now that we've tackled the dangers of potatoes, let's move on to the next veggie that's quietly contributing to foot numbness. But before we do, take a moment to reflect on how small changes in your diet can make a big impact. Did this tip about potatoes surprise you? I want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment with a 1 if you're going to give sweet potatoes a try, or a 2 if you're going to stick with regular potatoes and try some of the suggestions I mentioned. Your feedback is always appreciated. Next, we'll talk about tomatoes, a vegetable we all know and love, but with a hidden catch. Stay tuned, we're just getting started. Now that we've covered potatoes, let's dive into another vegetable that might be making your foot numbness worse, tomatoes. I know, tomatoes are often considered one of the healthiest vegetables out there. They're packed with antioxidants, vitamins, and are a staple in many dishes. Whether they're part of a fresh salad, a hearty sauce, or just sliced on a sandwich, tomatoes are a go-to for many of us. But what if I told you that, for some people, tomatoes might be quietly causing those tingling or numb sensations in your feet? Here's why tomatoes might be a problem, especially for seniors. Tomatoes belong to the nightshade family, which also includes other vegetables like eggplants, peppers, and potatoes. While nightshades are generally healthy and nutritious, they can cause inflammation in some people, especially those with sensitivities. And inflammation is a major factor that can worsen symptoms of neuropathy, including foot numbness. If you've ever experienced a flare-up of pain or discomfort after eating tomatoes, you're not alone. In fact, research has shown that nightshades can trigger a response in the body that causes joint pain, muscle weakness, and in some cases, nerve damage. For seniors dealing with chronic conditions like arthritis, diabetes, or poor circulation, consuming tomatoes could exacerbate these issues, leading to that nagging numbness in the feet. One of the key compounds found in tomatoes is solanine, a naturally occurring toxin found in nightshades. While solanine is harmless for most people, for some individuals, it can trigger a response that increases inflammation. And if you already have nerve damage or inflammation in your body, that additional inflammation could worsen your foot numbness. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, but tomatoes are so healthy. They're full of vitamin C, lycopene, and other beneficial antioxidants. How can they be bad for me? You're absolutely right. Tomatoes are nutrient dense, and they play an important role in supporting heart health, skin health, and immune function. However, like many things in life, it's all about balance and moderation. If you've noticed that tomatoes are affecting your foot health, it might be worth considering how much of them you're consuming, especially if you already suffer from inflammatory conditions. The good news is that there are ways to still enjoy tomatoes without making your foot numbness worse. For example, cooking tomatoes can reduce the amount of solanine they contain, which can make them easier on your system. So, instead of eating raw tomatoes, you could try incorporating them into cooked dishes like soups, stews, or sauces, which also allow you to enjoy their antioxidants without the inflammatory effects. But let's say you're still experiencing issues with tomatoes, even after cooking them. Well, there are plenty of alternatives you can try that still give you those same health benefits without the side effects. Cucumbers, for example, are a great alternative. They're hydrating, low in calories, and packed with vitamin C and fiber, all while being much gentler on your system compared to tomatoes. Another good alternative is zucchini, which is also part of the squash family and provides a similar texture and versatility to tomatoes in many dishes. Now, let's pause for a moment here. How do you feel about tomatoes? Have you ever experienced foot numbness after enjoying a tomato-based meal? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so go ahead and drop a 1 in the comments if tomatoes have ever caused you discomfort, or a 2 if you're in the clear. And if you haven't subscribed to LifeWell Seniors yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and make sure you turn on notifications so you never miss another health tip. As we continue talking about tomatoes, remember that everyone's body is different. Some people can eat tomatoes without any problems, while others may need to be more cautious. If you're one of the lucky ones who can enjoy them without issue, that's great. But if you're finding that they're affecting your feet or your joints, it might be time to rethink how often you're incorporating them into your meals. So, what's the takeaway here? Tomatoes are full of health benefits, but they're not for everyone. If you have a sensitivity to nightshades, you might want to consider reducing your tomato intake, or trying different ways of preparing them to lessen their impact on your body. And if tomatoes are causing problems, don't worry. There are plenty of alternatives that will still provide you with the nutrition you need without the side effects. As we move on to the next vegetable, let's take a quick pause. Have you ever tried cooking tomatoes in a different way to see if it helps? Maybe roasting or sautéing them instead of eating them raw? I'd love to know your experience. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. And remember, if you've found these tips helpful so far, give us a thumbs up and share this video with anyone who might benefit from these insights. Now that we've tackled tomatoes, let's shift gears and talk about another common vegetable that could be secretly affecting your foot health: spinach. It's another veggie that's considered a superfood, but it may not always be as great as it seems. Stay tuned, we're just getting started, and there's a lot more to uncover. Now, let's move on to another vegetable that's often touted as a superfood: spinach. Spinach is packed with iron, magnesium, and vitamin K, making it great for bone health, muscle function, and overall vitality. It's one of those foods that we're all told to eat more of, right? After all, it's rich in nutrients, and it's often recommended as a key part of a healthy diet. But here's the kicker: not everyone should be eating spinach in large amounts, especially seniors who are dealing with foot numbness or other nerve issues. You see, spinach contains oxalates, which are naturally occurring compounds found in many plants. Oxalates are known for their ability to bind with calcium and prevent your body from absorbing it properly. And calcium, as we all know, is crucial for maintaining strong bones, but it's also necessary for nerve function. So, if you're dealing with nerve damage or neuropathy, which is common among seniors, high levels of oxalates can make your symptoms worse. Let me break this down a bit more. When you consume foods that are high in oxalates, such as spinach, it can hinder the absorption of calcium, which affects nerve health. This can cause problems, especially for those who are already struggling with nerve-related issues like foot numbness. You might not feel the effects immediately, but over time, the cumulative impact of oxalates could contribute to the worsening of symptoms. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, but spinach is so healthy. How can something that's good for me be bad? And I totally get it. Spinach is loaded with nutrients that can benefit your overall health, including vitamin C, vitamin A, and folate. However, for seniors who already have compromised nerve health, the high oxalate content in spinach can be problematic. So, while spinach can be great for your body in many ways, it's not the ideal vegetable for everyone. Let's talk about how much spinach we should be eating. You don't have to cut it out of your diet completely. Spinach is still packed with a lot of beneficial nutrients. The key is moderation. Eating spinach in smaller quantities or pairing it with foods that can help your body absorb calcium more effectively might be the way to go. And while it's tempting to toss a huge handful of spinach into every meal, be mindful of the amount you're consuming. There are ways to reduce the oxalate content in spinach to make it gentler on your body. For example, steaming spinach can help break down some of the oxalates and make the nutrients easier for your body to absorb. If you prefer to eat it raw, try mixing it with other leafy greens that are lower in oxalates, such as kale or arugula, which provide similar nutritional benefits without the same risk to your calcium absorption. But, if you've been experiencing foot numbness after eating spinach, it might be time to switch to a different leafy green altogether. There are several great alternatives to spinach that are easier on your system and can still provide many of the same health benefits. Kale, for example, is an excellent option. It's rich in calcium and vitamin K, but it has a lower oxalate content, making it a much better choice for anyone who's worried about nerve health or foot numbness. Another great alternative to spinach is collard greens. They are also packed with nutrients and have a much lower oxalate level than spinach. And for those who are looking for something lighter, lettuce, specifically romaine lettuce, can be a great option as well. It's mild in flavor, hydrating, and much gentler on your body, while still providing a variety of vitamins and minerals. Now, let me ask you, have you ever noticed foot numbness after eating spinach or other leafy greens? If so, drop a 1 in the comments to let me know, or a 2 if spinach doesn't seem to affect you at all. And while we're at it, if you haven't already subscribed to LifeWell Seniors, now's a great time to do so. You'll get all the latest tips on maintaining good health and managing those little annoyances that can come with aging. Let's talk about calcium for a moment. As I mentioned earlier, calcium is crucial for nerve function, and if you're not getting enough of it, it can lead to more nerve issues. If spinach is causing problems due to its oxalate content, you might want to think about adding other calcium-rich foods to your diet, like fortified plant-based milks, tofu, or almonds. These foods can help balance out the calcium levels in your body without the risks associated with high oxalate vegetables. So, while spinach is a powerhouse when it comes to nutrients, it's important to be aware of the risks, especially if you're already dealing with foot numbness or other nerve-related issues. As with any food, moderation is key. Listen to your body and adjust your intake based on how you're feeling. If you've learned something new about spinach today, let me know in the comments. What changes do you plan on making to your diet after hearing this? And don't forget to like and subscribe so we can continue exploring these health topics together. Now that we've covered spinach and its potential effects, let's move on to another vegetable that we all know and love, broccoli. While broccoli is often praised for its health benefits, it too can have some hidden risks for those dealing with foot numbness. Stay tuned as we explore how this popular vegetable might be quietly contributing to your discomfort. Now that we've covered potatoes, tomatoes, and spinach, let's move on to another vegetable that's frequently lauded for its health benefits, broccoli. Broccoli is often considered a superhero of the vegetable world. It's packed with fiber, vitamin C, and calcium, and it's said to promote healthy digestion, boost the immune system, and even reduce inflammation. But as much as we love broccoli, it can actually present hidden risks, especially for seniors experiencing foot numbness or nerve-related issues. At first glance, you might wonder how something so nutritious could possibly cause problems. The issue lies in broccoli being a cruciferous vegetable, part of a family that also includes cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and cabbage. These vegetables are often celebrated for their cancer-fighting compounds and other health benefits. But they also contain substances called goitrogens, which can interfere with thyroid function. Why is this important when talking about foot numbness? Because the thyroid plays a major role in regulating metabolism, energy levels, and nerve function. If your thyroid is affected, it can lead to hypothyroidism, an underactive thyroid, and this can contribute to symptoms like poor circulation and nerve problems, including the numbness you might feel in your feet. So, how does this relate to foot numbness? Well, when your thyroid isn't functioning properly, your circulation can suffer. Poor circulation means less blood flow to your extremities, which can make nerve damage worse. This is particularly important for seniors who may already be dealing with nerve issues or neuropathy. If you already have poor circulation or nerve damage, eating too much broccoli, or other cruciferous vegetables, could actually exacerbate the numbness and tingling in your feet. But let's not get too alarmed here. Just like with other vegetables, the key is moderation. Eating a small portion of broccoli once or twice a week shouldn't cause a major issue for most people. However, if you're already dealing with thyroid problems or nerve damage, it may be worth adjusting how much you consume. This doesn't mean you have to cut out broccoli completely. It's a wonderful vegetable with so many health benefits, but you may want to limit your intake or consider switching to vegetables that are gentler on the thyroid and nervous system. I'm curious, have you noticed any increase in foot numbness after eating broccoli or other cruciferous vegetables? Let me know by commenting with a 1 if you've noticed a connection, or a 2 if broccoli doesn't seem to cause any issues for you. If you're learning something new today, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to LifeWell Senior so we can keep providing you with helpful tips and insights. Now, you might be wondering how you can still enjoy broccoli without the side effects. Here's some good news: there are ways to prepare broccoli that reduce its goitrogenic effects. One simple way is by steaming it instead of eating it raw. Steaming cruciferous vegetables helps break down some of the compounds that could interfere with thyroid function. So, if you're a fan of broccoli but want to be mindful of your thyroid and nerve health, steaming it could be a great way to enjoy its benefits without the risks. Alternatively, you can try steaming or sautéing other vegetables like zucchini, carrots, or green beans. These vegetables are nutrient dense but don't contain goitrogens, which makes them much easier on your thyroid and circulation. If you're looking to get your daily dose of vitamin C, fiber, and calcium without worrying about the thyroid, these options are perfect. But let's go back to broccoli for a second. If you love it as much as I do, don't worry. You can still enjoy it occasionally, especially if you're paying attention to how it makes you feel. Moderation is the key here. There's no need to avoid it entirely unless you have specific health concerns like thyroid imbalances. For most of us, broccoli is still a wonderful addition to a balanced diet. So, what's your favorite way to prepare broccoli? Do you steam it, sauté it, or maybe throw it into a casserole? I'd love to hear from you. Drop your favorite broccoli recipe in the comments below. And remember to subscribe to LifeWell Seniors so you never miss more useful health tips like these. Now, as we move toward the next section of our podcast, I want to leave you with this thought: while broccoli is healthy, it's important to understand how it fits into your overall diet, especially when dealing with foot numbness or other nerve issues. If you've been eating broccoli and noticing a connection to your symptoms, it might be time to adjust your diet or speak with your healthcare provider to see if there's a link. Next, we're going to talk about another vegetable that many people eat regularly: carrots. You might be surprised to learn that even this seemingly harmless vegetable could be contributing to your foot numbness. Stay tuned as we dive deeper into the hidden dangers that might be affecting your health. Now that we've covered potatoes, tomatoes, spinach, and broccoli, let's talk about another vegetable that's often thought of as harmless: carrots. Carrots are well known for their high content of beta-carotene, a powerful antioxidant that supports eye health, and they're frequently included in salads, soups, and snacks. But like many of the other vegetables we've talked about, carrots could be contributing to your foot numbness in ways you might not expect. At first glance, you might be thinking, carrots? How could something so good for my eyes be a problem for my feet? Well, just like with the other veggies we've discussed, it's all about how your body reacts to them. While carrots are low in oxalates and don't belong to the nightshade or cruciferous families, they do have a significant amount of sugar and carbohydrates. This is important because for seniors dealing with diabetes, insulin resistance, or poor circulation, consuming too much sugar, whether it's from processed foods or natural sources like carrots, can affect blood sugar levels and contribute to nerve damage over time. Here's the issue: when you consume high glycemic foods, those that raise your blood sugar quickly, it can exacerbate symptoms of neuropathy, a condition where nerve function is impaired, causing tingling or numbness in your feet. Carrots, though they are healthier than processed sugary foods, still have a moderate glycemic index, meaning they can cause a spike in your blood sugar when eaten in large quantities. For those already struggling with diabetic neuropathy or nerve damage, that blood sugar spike can worsen the numbness and discomfort in your feet. But don't panic. I'm not saying you need to cut carrots out of your diet. They're still a great source of vitamin A, fiber, and potassium, and they provide a lot of benefits when consumed in moderation. The key here is portion control. You can still enjoy carrots, but it's important not to go overboard. A serving or two of carrots a day is generally fine for most people, but if you're dealing with foot numbness, it might be wise to keep an eye on the quantity you're consuming. Now, let's check in with you. Have you ever noticed foot numbness or tingling after eating carrots or other foods that are high in natural sugars? If you've experienced this, type 1 in the comments. If you haven't noticed any issues, type 2. I'd love to know how many of you have experienced this connection. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to LifeWell Seniors to get more practical health tips like this one. When it comes to carrots, the best way to minimize the effect on your blood sugar is to pair them with foods that help stabilize blood sugar levels. For example, try adding healthy fats like avocados, olive oil, or nuts to your carrot dishes. These healthy fats can help slow down the digestion of carbohydrates, which in turn prevents a spike in your blood sugar. You can also try pairing carrots with protein-rich foods like chicken, fish, or beans, as protein helps balance blood sugar levels and provides sustained energy throughout the day. Another thing to keep in mind is how you prepare carrots. Raw carrots have a slightly higher glycemic index than cooked carrots, so you might want to experiment with steaming or roasting them instead of eating them raw. Cooking carrots not only reduces their glycemic index but also makes them easier to digest, which is especially important if you have any digestive issues or difficulty managing your blood sugar. If you find that carrots are still affecting your foot numbness, it might be a good idea to limit your intake and try other vegetables that are less likely to spike your blood sugar. For example, cucumbers, zucchini, or leafy greens like spinach, in moderation, are all low glycemic alternatives that provide great nutritional value without the risk of blood sugar spikes. What do you think? Do you feel that eating carrots affects your foot numbness? Or maybe you've tried adjusting how you prepare them? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And remember to subscribe to LifeWell Seniors so we can keep bringing you helpful insights and tips for managing your health in a practical way. So, to sum up, carrots, they're a great vegetable packed with nutrients, but if you're dealing with foot numbness or nerve issues, it's important to pay attention to the quantity and how you prepare them. Moderation is key, and pairing them with healthy fats or proteins can help mitigate the effect they have on your blood sugar. If you find carrots cause issues, try switching to other veggies that are lower in sugar and carbohydrates, but still rich in vitamins and minerals. With that said, we've covered a lot of ground already, but there's one more vegetable that many people eat on a regular basis, and it's one that could be silently affecting your foot health: beets. Beets are high in natural sugars and nitrates, and while they offer many health benefits, they might not be the best choice for everyone, especially for those dealing with foot numbness or circulation issues. Stay tuned, because we're about to dive into the hidden risks of this seemingly innocent vegetable. As we wrap up today's video, I just want to take a moment to thank you for joining me and being a part of the LifeWell Seniors community. I know that managing health, especially as we age, can be a challenge, but the fact that you're here, learning and taking steps toward a better lifestyle, says a lot about your commitment to your well-being. That in itself is something truly admirable. We've covered a lot today, from potatoes and tomatoes to spinach, broccoli, and carrots, and we've learned how even the healthiest of foods can sometimes have unintended effects on our bodies. But remember, it's all about balance and moderation. By making small, mindful changes, you can continue to enjoy your favorite foods while protecting your health, especially when it comes to foot numbness and nerve issues. If you've found these tips helpful, I really encourage you to hit the like button, subscribe to the LifeWell Seniors channel, and turn on notifications. That way, you'll never miss out on more valuable content that can help you feel better and live a more vibrant life. Your support means the world to me and helps us continue creating videos that make a positive impact. And don't forget, share this video with someone you care about who might be dealing with similar issues. Whether it's a friend, family member, or neighbor, the information we've shared today could make a difference for them too. Before we go, I'd love to hear from you. What changes are you planning to make after watching today's video? Have you noticed any of the vegetables we talked about affecting your health? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be sure to read through and respond to as many as I can. Your feedback and experiences are truly valuable, and they help me know what topics to cover next. Thank you again for spending time with me today. I'm so glad you're part of this community, and I'm excited to continue this journey with you. Take care of your health, stay active, and remember, small changes lead to big improvements. Until next time, take care of yourselves and your loved ones. You deserve to live a happy, healthy, and fulfilling life.